In a world where billionaires collect private islands like Pokemon cards and whisper about polyamory like it's part of a business pitch, Jeffrey Epstein managed to be the weirdest guy in the room, and that's saying something. If you've stumbled upon Jeffrey Epstein, Filthy Rich on Netflix, you already know this isn't your average tabloid scandal. This is a rabbit hole so deep even Lewis Carroll would be creeped out. From his Gatsby-esque mystique to a friendship circle that included ex-presidents, royals, and media moguls, Epstein was the ultimate enigma. Until the mask slipped, and what lay beneath was darker than anyone dared imagine. Mr. Mysterious and his very public secrets. Back in 2002, someone described Epstein as Gatsby-esque, which, let's be honest, is code for rich, secretive, and probably up to no good. He owned not just one, but 2 private islands, which sounds romantic until you remember they were allegedly used as part of a deeply disturbing sex trafficking ring. His social circle read like a who's who of money and power. Yet despite the high society sheen, Epstein preferred to keep things murky. A New York mansion filled with oddities and an entourage of young women only fueled the whispers. These weren't just party guests. Many were victims. Epstein's love life. Let's dive into what Epstein called a romantic life. Though he never tied the knot, that didn't mean he lacked candidates. According to a 2014 New York Post report, Epstein once said that if he had to marry, it would be Selena Dubin, who was 19 at the time. And here's where it gets even more twisted. Selena was the daughter of his ex-girlfriend, Eva Anderson Dubin. You read that right. Selena and Epstein weren't even romantically involved, which just made the statement more grotesque, like announcing you'd marry your ex's daughter because why not? Eva, meanwhile, was with Epstein for 11 years, starting in the 1980s. She later testified during Ghislaine Maxwell's trial, claiming she was fine with Epstein being around her kids, who even called him Uncle F. Yes, that guy, around her kids. Cool parenting. Ghislaine Maxwell. If Epstein was the spider at the center of the web, Ghislaine Maxwell was one of the stickiest strands. The daughter of British press baron Robert Maxwell, Ghislaine began dating Epstein in the early 90s and never really left the scene. One of his exes described how Ghislaine casually mentioned she was still sleeping in Epstein's bed long after their breakup, like a human version of a malware pop-up that won't go away. Others described her need for Epstein's approval as near obsessive, constantly trying to please him, hoping that if she just helped him recruit one more underage girl, he'd finally commit. After Epstein's 2019 death, Maxwell was arrested and charged in 2020 with aiding his abuse of minors. In 2022, she was convicted and sentenced to 20 years in prison. At sentencing, she said, "Jeffrey Epstein should have been here before all of you. It is not about Epstein ultimately. It is for me to be sentenced. Yes, Ghislaine, it is about you. You got caught. Congratulations, victims, vultures, and Vanity Fair." Epstein's tactics were cunning and cruel. According to attorney David Boies, some women were lured into his orbit with promises of jobs, money, or modeling gigs, only to be turned into recruiters for other underage girls. It was like a pyramid scheme, only instead of selling leggings, you were selling your soul. Some women were underage, others were in their early 20s, young, vulnerable, and trying to navigate life. One woman said Epstein babbled endlessly about polyamory, knowing she lacked the confidence to challenge him. When she refused an open relationship, he ghosted her like a frat boy who found someone younger. One ex, a Sports Illustrated model, described him as emotionally dead inside, calling him a man who always needed a model on his arm but didn't have an inner world. If that isn't the most poetic way to say sociopath, we don't know what is. A guest list of ghosts and mystery women. In public, Epstein always arrived with young, unnamed women, guests, or mystery companions he rarely introduced. One ex summed him up perfectly. He wanted to seem like a man who controlled everyone, who collected people, who could damage people. He was like a toxic Pokemon trainer. Gotta catch 'em all and ruin their lives. The Trump-Epstein bromance. And then there's Donald Trump, who managed to make the story even messier. Trump and Epstein weren't just passing acquaintances, they were Palm Beach party bros back in the day. They hung out at Mar-a-Lago, dined together in Epstein's Manhattan mansion, and appeared in multiple photos that probably won't end up on Christmas cards. In 2002, Trump told New York Magazine, "I've known Jeff for 15 years. Terrific guy, he's a lot of fun to be with." Then, with his signature charm, he added, "He likes beautiful women as much as I do, and many of them are on the younger side." Yikes doesn't even begin to cover it. There's also the now infamous 1992 NBC clip where Trump and Epstein are seen pointing at women on a dance floor like they're shopping for produce. That same year, Trump allegedly hosted a private calendar girl competition at Mar-a-Lago, where the only attendees were Trump and Epstein. Yep, 28 women, 2 men, you do the math. "I was never a fan," he said, after the arrest. By 2004, the bromance reportedly soured over, what else? Real estate drama. Apparently, they both wanted the same Palm Beach property. Rich people problems. Fast forward to 2019, after Epstein's arrest, and Trump suddenly remembered he didn't like the guy after all. "I had a falling out with him a long time ago," he said, claiming he never flew on the Lolita Express or visited Epstein's island. Except, flight log said otherwise. Turns out Trump had flown with Epstein 7 times. Dark testimonies and the ghosts of Mar-a-Lago. One of Epstein's survivors, Virginia Giuffre, said she was recruited at Mar-a-Lago by Ghislaine Maxwell while working as a locker room attendant. Tragically, Giuffre took her own life in April 2025. A heartbreaking loss in a saga filled with pain. Another former model, Stacey Williams, told The Guardian that Epstein once brought her to Trump's Fifth Avenue penthouse in 1993 and encouraged Trump to grope her. She called it a twisted game. Trump naturally denies it. Michael Wolff's tapes. Just when you thought this couldn't get any more unhinged, journalist Michael Wolff dropped some 2017 tapes that Epstein recorded before his death. In them, Epstein called himself Trump's closest friend for 10 years and described the former president as womanizing, illiterate, and friendless. Except for Ivanka, his secretary, and a lone bodyguard. He claimed Trump once boasted, "The only thing I really like to do is the wives of my best friends." If you're now wondering whether these two were actually just Bond villains in khakis, you're not alone. The curious case of the vanishing client list. Despite all this, what still drives people mad is the missing Epstein client list. We got courtroom drama, convictions, and wild accusations, but no complete list of the powerful individuals involved. It's like opening a murder mystery novel and finding the last 5 pages missing. When Trump was asked if he'd declassify the Epstein files, he said, "Yeah, I guess I would, unless it's phony stuff." That vague, shoulder-shruggy answer did not inspire much confidence. And that's a wrap for today's video. If you found this video fascinating, smash that like and hit subscribe. Got thoughts, theories, names that should be on the list? Drop them in the comments. Just, keep it legal. Until next time, stay curious, stay skeptical, and remember, if someone owns 2 private islands and nobody knows what they do for a living, run. See you in the next one.